So 2024 has been quite the year for manga and anime as two of the biggest series, My Hero Academia and JJK, have officially concluded. And at the time of me recording this, JJK has about, I want to say like 3 more chapters left. And My Hero's been over for, I think, about going on 2 months. And let's just say the reception of both have been incredibly lackluster. In the case of JJK, I don't know if Gege can exactly fulfill the desires of everyone within 3 chapters. What happened to the merger? The Gojo final at Numbara was okay. How good was Tekken just? These are all questions that I don't think that we're going to get answers to. My Hero Academia had one of the most negative reactions to an ending I think I have ever seen. And while I personally am glad that the events in the story had some lasting consequences, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think Deku should have kept his quirk. I ain't even gonna lie. Yeah, he Iron Man and all now. Yeah, he's still top of the verse because of his battle IQ. But he's still just a nigga in a suit of armor now. Unfortunately, my GOAT is washed. But I don't want to keep the spirits low by dwelling on these two today. Today I actually want to talk about a few series with decent to good endings in my opinion. Remember, all opinions are subjective, except for mine. If you don't agree with me, die. First anime that had a great ending in my opinion is the GOAT himself, Naruto. Now, I'm not talking about that bullshit anime ending they had with him and Hinata's wedding being at the end. No, I'm talking about the manga adaptation. See, in the manga, it follows basically everything the anime does up until the part where Naruto gives Sasuke back his OG headband. Then we jump forward about 12 years later. We see this little fuck who looks just like Naruto named Boruto. And he in the classroom causing ruckus just like his old man. And when I tell you this shit filled me with so much nostalgia, it was insane. Then we cut to various other side characters. We see that this nigga don't got just 1, but 2 kids, bro. He really been going crazy. The evolution of the village, a lot of Naruto's generation looking nice and healthy, and then suddenly this little nigga Boruto up here loitering, and boom, then he shows up. Naruto pulls up in the Hokage garb, giving his son a little scolding, but at the same time passing on the wheel of fire with 1 bar. This little rugrat has really grown into a full-blown adult, and not only that, but he achieved his dream as Hokage. And the last page being an homage to the first page of the entire series. Many people don't like the decisions Kishimoto made throughout the series, me included, but you have to admit, as far as wrapping everything up, he did it gracefully. Second series, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z. I want to make it clear that I'm referring to the Toriyama 2004 fixed ending and not the original ending that came out back in the, what was it, like early 90s or some shit. Years after the Buu saga, we have our Z fighters preparing themselves for yet another world tournament. And much like Naruto, we have an epilogue segment that revolves around being nostalgic. Something that really makes us remember the earlier days of the franchise and just how much has happened between that specific moment and where we are today at the end of the series. One of the OG Dragon Ball's most highlighted arcs was the last World Tournament, and like I said, we have essentially come full circle at the end of Z. Dragon Ball Super, the anime, tried to do something similar with the Tournament of Power, but in my opinion, didn't live up to the hype. But anyway, we have Goku becoming extremely antsy as he's waiting to fight the reincarnation of Majin Buu. This little kid named Oob, who arguably can possibly go toe-to-toe with Super Saiyan 3 Goku. They don't really say that, but I'm just throwing that out there. But this is essentially the whole point of these final few chapters. We see most of the cast have gotten older. Gohan looks well into his 30s as a father and husband to Pan and Videl. Goten and Trunks are now teenagers and most likely the future of the Z fighters. And all the humans have aged drastically, but that's to be expected. They're humans after all. But the last chapter ends with Goku being so infatuated with the potential that Oob has that he decides he's going to make Oob his successor and goes off to train him. Now, all things considered, what happened with Gohan back during the Cell Saga, it seems like Goku did not learn from that mistake. And another thing being that he basically just abandoned all his family and friends, who at this point in the epilogue, he has not seen for about, I think, like 7 to 10 years, depending on if you're watching like the specific dub or reading the manga. I think it's between 7 to 10 years or something like that. But you know, hey man, you know, that's just Goku, man. What you gonna do about it? We do have the characters all kind of accepting it and being like, yep, that's Goku. which didn't feel like what Goku was doing was out of place, at least for me. They know that Goku has always desired to not only get strong, but to push people with potential to get as strong as well. And in the final pages of the '04 edit, we have Goku putting Oob on Nimbus and flying behind him, reminiscent of Goku's adventures when he himself was a kid, and closing the story with a smile. And with no dialogue, showing us that the story of Goku has come to an end and he's passing the torch. And then nothing else happened afterwards. Now, I know what you're saying. Bro, you only gave us 2 examples. Just pipe down. Let me look at the rest of the list. Okay, maybe Shonen series do have a tough time, wrapping everything up more than I thought. I, for one, am dreading the final year of One Piece because I personally believe that no matter how much world building he's done, no matter the years that One Piece has been in serialization, I don't know if Oda can wrap up everything and not harm any of the fan base's perception of One Piece. Oda may have an Attack on Titan fan base reaction where the popularity of the series is so drastically blown out of proportion that the anime has to be the true ending to the story, leaving those of us who collect the actual physical volumes with an ending that's basically null and void. With these newer shonen series taking a much more linear design and storytelling, not having so much world building like One Piece, which is why we have 1,000+ chapters, because Oda actually takes time to explore the island that the characters are on, with side characters and little mini subplots going on, or retroactive storytelling like Naruto, where a lot of the plot points are explained by taking the audience back to the past to explain what's going on in the current plot. In the case of JJK and My Hero, there are a lot of plot points that aren't really explained more than a one-off line. We never know who Deku's dad is. We never get to see much of a backstory for a lot of the cast in JJK. And I feel like that's why a lot of people feel unsatisfied with some of these endings, because it doesn't even feel like we know too much about the world, as insane as that might sound, despite us being, 100 chapters in. But I do think leaving too many things open-ended is a factor. And trying to wrap up the loose ends in less than 10 chapters is absolutely absurd. But at the core of the issue, I feel that the popularity of the series is what affects the fans' feedback. Expectations being higher than the author could have ever imagined, and possibly already having a conclusion lined up that's opposing to the delusional takes of the said fan base. In the case of JJK, I feel like the boom of JJK is ultimately going to be its downfall. A lot of people hopped on during season 2 because it felt like every week when Shibuya had a new episode coming out, that a lot of the anime only viewers thought that JJK could do no wrong. I'm a manga reader. I thought the same thing. Just wait till we get to the Cullen games. But I do feel like the story practices of today's manga authors, I do feel like they're not trying to have that 700+ chapter series. They're not trying to do like 25 years of doing this. Sometimes they may have different aspirations. When I think about a author who tried to go on after a popular series, I think of when Kishimoto tried to do, I think it was Samurai 8 after he finished Naruto, while Boruto was also in serialization as well. And I remember people saying that Samurai 8 wasn't terrible, but it didn't even compare to Naruto. And I do think that a lot of mangaka aren't trying to get in that one box. For example, Fujimoto. Fujimoto is primarily known at this point for Chainsaw Man, which is a traditional shonen anime, or manga, I mean. But he has stories like Fire Punch, Goodbye Eri, just a whole lot of different one-shots that when he feels like writing something creatively, he'll stop Chainsaw Man and go do that one shot. You know what I mean? And I feel like, to the detriment of a lot of these older manga artists and authors, I don't necessarily know if once One Piece is over, if Oda can transition into doing something else. So I do feel like that's why a lot of these series these days are starting to end kind of abruptly, or not having a very long series life. For example, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer ended, I think, with like 200 chapters. It was a pretty short series, all things considered, even with its popularity. I mean, I can see why Demon Slayer is not exactly like peak storytelling or anything like that, in my opinion. I do think a lot of the authors just want to, I wanted to tell this story. This is the way I want to tell it. Close that chapter, that book. You know what I mean? And I believe Yege even came out and said that he wants to end JJK the way he wants to end it, instead of it, being like 500 chapters plus. 270 chapters, is by no means like a short read or anything like that. But I can admire him for being like, okay, you know what? I don't want to drag this on for as long as I have to, even though he does have a few plot points that have been unanswered and appears to be will be forever unanswered unless we get a JJK Shippuden or some shit like that. I do admire the authors having the gall to just be like, okay, no, I'm not gonna just continue this series because you guys like it so much or anything like that. Or you might have a situation with Isayama, who did Attack on Titan, where his plot threads led to something that a lot of people found illogical, and at the end of the day, he had to go into the anime and basically rewrite the ending. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you guys have most likely probably read more or more manga or watched more anime series than I have that have good to decent endings, like I think Full Metal Alchemist probably has a good ending. I've never really sat down and watched that, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If there are more good endings in anime, or do you think, hey, yeah, some of these series start strong but end incredibly short? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.
Yo.